I heard this story from two people who love each other. They each saw their future differently. And this is what happened.
Today's the day I've been dreaming about for what feels like forever. Everything is exactly how I imagined it would be. The lights are just right, the decorations are beautiful, and the people we care about most are gathered in our home, all waiting for Jameson to show up. There's this unique kind of buzz in the air, the kind that makes your heart race and makes every second feel like it's dragging on and on. I've always been pretty good at keeping secrets, but this is the biggest one yet, and I can hardly wait to reveal it to him. Jameson and I have been together for 5 years now. 5 solid years of building a life together. We've shared everything. Our home, our lives, except for that last piece, the one that makes it official marriage. From the start, Jameson was upfront about his stance. He didn't want to get married. He'd been through a rough time before, back in college, and it left him a little jaded. But hey, people change, right? I've always believed that, given enough time, he'd change his mind. And now I know he will. Because today isn't just about me proposing. No, it's about something even bigger. I'm pregnant. We're going to have a baby. Honestly, I'm still trying to process it myself. A few weeks ago, when the test came back positive, my first thought was, this is it. This is the moment where everything changes. Jameson's going to be a dad, and once he knows, there's no way he could refuse marriage. It all feels like it's lining up perfectly, like this is exactly how things were meant to happen. I take a quick look around the living room. My parents are chatting away with both of our moms fussing over the decorations, while our closest friends hang around the snacks, laughing and sipping their drinks. It's a small, intimate gathering, nothing too flashy, just enough to make the moment special. I didn't want Jameson to feel overwhelmed by the whole thing, although knowing him, he might still be a little caught off guard. But I know him well enough to be sure of one thing. Once he hears the news, he'll understand that this is our next step. I mean, how could he not? He loves me, we've built a life together, and marriage is just the last piece to make it all official. And with a baby on the way? Well, it couldn't be more perfect. I've imagined this moment over and over in my head, and every time it ends the same way. Jameson saying yes, pulling me into his arms, and everyone around us cheering as we take the next big step in our lives. I slip my hand into my pocket and my fingers brush the small velvet box tucked inside. I've had the ring for a while now, and each time I've looked at it, I've pictured Jameson's face when I finally pop the question. Sure, he'll be surprised, probably even a little stunned knowing him. But eventually he'll flash that smile I love, the one that says he's on board, even if he didn't see it coming. He's here. I quickly smooth down my dress, taking one last glance around the room. Our parents are already turning toward the door, exchanging excited whispers. The door swings open and Jameson steps inside. His face is a mixture of confusion and curiosity as he looks around at the lights, the decorations, and the people. He has no idea what's coming next. I hear the sound of a car pulling up outside, and my heart jumps. This is it.
The sound of laughter and chatter fills the air as I walk up to the house. I'm doing my best to act like this is what I want. But seeing all those cars parked outside, it makes me uneasy. I've never been a fan of surprises, and whatever this is, it sure smells like one. I open the front door, and the first thing that hits me is the sight of the decorations. Balloons, streamers, basically the whole works. The living room is packed with people. Our parents, friends, all standing around, talking, smiling like this is some kind of party. What the hell is going on? Then I spot Seren. She's beaming, practically glowing as she walks over to me with that big, bright smile plastered on her face. "Hey, babe," she says, throwing her arms around me in a tight hug. I hug her back, but my mind is racing, trying to make sense of all this. What am I missing? What's all this? I ask, glancing around at the crowd. Did I forget something? Seren pulls back, still smiling, her eyes glinting with something. Excitement. Maybe? I can't quite read it. "It's a surprise," she says, her tone teasing, like she's enjoying keeping me in the dark. A surprise. Just what I didn't need after a long day at work. But I force a smile. What else can I do? It's not like I can just turn around and leave my own house. Everyone here is clearly waiting for something, and whatever it is, it means a lot to Seren. So I play along. The party drags on, but I can't shake the feeling that something big is about to drop. Seren keeps sneaking glances at me, her smile never fading, but she won't say what's going on. I keep racking my brain, trying to figure out if there's some milestone I forgot about. But nothing clicks. Then, just when I start to think maybe it's just a random get-together, Seren steps forward in front of everyone. The room falls silent. She looks nervous, which is strange for her. She's always been so confident, almost annoyingly so. My stomach knots up. Then she drops to one knee. Seren, what are you? I start to ask, but she cuts me off. Jameson, she says, looking up at me with those big, hopeful eyes. I love you. We've had 5 incredible years together, and I can't imagine my life without you. You're my everything, and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. No, no, no. This isn't happening. My chest tightens. She knows how I feel about marriage. I've been clear about that from day one. What is she thinking? Before I can say a word, she reaches into her pocket, pulls out a small box, and flips it open to reveal a ring. I'm asking you to marry me. For a moment, the room spins. Everyone's staring at me, smiling, waiting for me to sweep her off her feet and say yes. But all I can think is, why? Why would she do this, knowing how I feel? I reach down, take her hand, and gently pull her to her feet. Seren, can we talk? In private, I say, trying to keep my voice steady. The smiles around the room drop, replaced by confusion, but I can't do this in front of everyone. Not like this. I lead her into the kitchen, away from all the eyes watching us. What are you doing? I ask once we're alone. You know I don't want to get married. We've talked about this. Seren's expression flickers, maybe fear, maybe frustration. Jameson, I want to start a family with you. I'm pregnant. I let out a short, humorless laugh. Not because it's funny, but because I don't know what else to do. She really thought springing this on me would change everything? Come on, Seren. You should have known better than that. Her face falls, but before she can respond, I turn and walk back into the living room. Seren has an announcement to make. I say loudly, grabbing everyone's attention.
I can barely contain my excitement as I step back into the living room. The decorations are exactly how I pictured them. Balloons floating, streamers hanging, and the comforting aroma of my mom's famous pasta filling the air. Everyone's here laughing and chatting, and for a moment, everything feels perfect. This is the day I've been waiting for. The day I finally get to share my big news. Everyone. I call out, my heart pounding in my chest. I have an amazing announcement. I catch my parents exchanging excited glances, and I can see my friends leaning in, eager to hear what I'm about to say. My eyes lock with Jameson's. He looks a little confused, but I push that aside. Nothing's going to ruin this moment for me. I'm pregnant. I blurt out, the words spilling out in a rush of joy. And I want to start a family with Jameson. Cheers break out around me. My parents hug each other, my friends are clapping, their faces lit up with smiles. I turn toward Jameson, expecting to see him swept up in the excitement, but he's just standing there. His face is unreadable. Wait, he says, and instantly, the room falls into an awkward silence. The knot in my stomach tightens. The energy in the room shifts, and I can feel my excitement beginning to unravel. I glance around and everyone is staring at Jameson now, waiting for his response. First off, Seren's pregnant. He announces, and the room erupts in cheers again. For a second I feel a glimmer of hope, but then he adds, that's the good news. But there's some bad news too. My heart sinks. What do you mean? I whisper, my voice barely audible. Jameson takes a deep breath, his shoulders tense. I had a vasectomy right after my divorce, he says, his voice steady. So, I don't know how she got pregnant. The room falls into a stunned silence. I can feel the blood rushing to my face, my cheeks burning as a cold sweat breaks out. What? I blurt out, the words tumbling from my mouth. This can't be happening. I feel like the ground is crumbling beneath me. I want a prenatal paternity test, Jameson continues, his tone cold and unwavering. My world crashes down around me. The cheers and joy from just moments ago seem like a distant memory. Jameson, please. I beg, my voice trembling, panic rising. This isn't how it was supposed to go. We were going to be happy. This was our moment. He raises his hand, silencing me. You ambushed me in front of everyone, he says, his tone firm, unyielding. Let's deal with this first. I can feel the room closing in on me. Our friends, our families, they all have these looks of confusion and shock plastered on their faces. My parents exchange worried glances and I feel trapped, cornered. Jameson, just listen to me. I plead, my voice rising in desperation. We've been together for 5 years. Don't you love me? Don't you trust me? Jameson doesn't even flinch. Love and trust don't change facts, he replies, his voice cold and final. My mom steps forward, trying to intervene. Jameson, you need to understand, this is a big deal for her, for both of you. Can't you see how much she loves you? But Jameson's expression doesn't soften. He just shakes his head. I'm sorry, but I need to know the truth before I can think about anything else. A paternity test is the only way. The weight of his words hits me like a punch to the gut. I start to feel like the walls are caving in on me, trapping me. You're really going to do this? Right here in front of everyone? I ask, my voice barely holding steady. Absolutely. Just like you ambushed me. Jameson says, his voice cold and unyielding, and humiliation washes over me in waves. The silence in the room is suffocating now. All the joy, all the excitement from earlier, has been sucked out of the air. I feel like I'm standing in front of a firing squad. Everyone's eyes still on me, waiting for something to happen. I can't stand the weight of their stares any longer, so I take a step back, trying to hold myself together. Okay. I stammer, trying to regain control of the situation. Let's all just calm down for a second. My voice shakes as I continue. This isn't how it was supposed to go. I love you, Jameson. Can't we just focus on that? But Jameson doesn't budge. He stands there, arms crossed, completely unmoved by my pleas. The panic rises in me and I feel like I'm losing him, losing everything. I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to make you happy. I say, my voice cracking, but it's no use. The moment is already shattered. And now there's nothing left but confusion and hurt. Tears prick at the corners of my eyes. My parents look devastated, their disappointment hanging heavy in the air. The room feels smaller, the walls closing in. Silence weighs down on me like a heavy blanket, suffocating me. Jameson stands firm, his voice cutting through the air like a blade. Seren's announcement hit like a thunderclap, and now here we are, staring at each other. And we're going to deal with this right now.
I'll be a father to this child if the paternity test proves it's mine, but I can't just take this news at face value. I say firmly, my voice cutting through the tension in the room. I notice a few of my friends nodding, showing they understand where I'm coming from. They know I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm just being practical. Jameson, please. Seren's voice cracks, filled with desperation. I look at her, and despite everything, it's painful to see her like this. But I have to remind myself of the facts. You can't just demand a test like it's nothing, she pleads. This is our life, Jameson. Our future. Yes, it is, I reply, keeping my tone steady. And I'm willing to take responsibility, but not without knowing the truth. I deserve that much, and so does this child. The room falls into a tense silence, everyone waiting for what comes next. My heart pounds in my chest as I keep my eyes locked on her, waiting for her to say something that makes sense. Jameson, please. Seren begins again, her voice trembling. You don't understand. I didn't want this to happen like this. I just wanted us to be happy. I thought. I shake my head, cutting her off. No, Seren. You need to say everything out loud. I can't help you if you're not honest. This is your chance to be real with me. The pressure is suffocating. I can see her eyes darting around the room, searching for a way out. She knows, just like I do, there's no more running from this. She has to face what she's done. With a deep sigh, she glances at our parents, her fear painfully obvious. Fine, she finally says, her voice shaking. I wanted to start a family with you, Jameson, but I thought. She hesitates, the words stuck in her throat. Thought what? I press, the weight of her confession heavy in the air. I thought it wasn't going to happen, she admits, and there's a collective gasp from the crowd. Everyone leans in, the tension rising as we all wait for the rest of the story. I tried everything, Seren continues, her voice breaking. But nothing worked, and I was desperate. I just wanted to have a baby with you. Go on, I say, keeping my tone calm even though my heart is racing. I ended up sleeping with someone else to get pregnant, she confesses, barely above a whisper. A colleague from work. I thought it would fix everything. Her words hang in the air like a cloud of thick smoke. I want to scream, to shout, to rage at her, but I keep it all inside. I have to keep control. So, you cheated on me to get pregnant? I ask, my voice low and quiet, the anger bubbling just below the surface. I didn't know what else to do, she sobs, tears streaming down her face. I wanted us to get married. I thought if I had a baby, you'd change your mind. I glance at my parents, their faces filled with concern. But I can't let myself be manipulated into feeling sympathy for her. She made her choices, and now she has to live with them. If you want to be a mother, that's your decision, I say, my voice cold. But I won't be a part of this lie. I can't trust you anymore, Seren. The weight of her betrayal hits me all over again, and I can see her crumbling right in front of me. But there's no going back from this. I turn to our friends, their faces mirroring my own shock and disbelief. I'm done, I say simply, my voice steady despite the chaos swirling around me. The hurt, the betrayal. It's all too familiar, and I can't believe I'm in this situation again. But I refuse to back down. I won't let her pull me into this mess. The air feels thick, suffocating, as the full weight of everything crashes down on me. All eyes are still on us, a sea of shocked and silent faces. But all I can think about is the wreckage of what was supposed to be our life together. Seren's devastation is clear, but I can't let that change the facts. We're done. There's no coming back from this.
I scan the room, and the disappointment is etched deeply into the faces of my friends and family. Jameson stands on the other side, his expression a painful mix of hurt and anger. My voice trembles as I start. Jameson, please. The words barely come out. I didn't mean for it to come out like this. I thought things would turn out differently. Tears spill down my cheeks, leaving me feeling completely vulnerable, standing here exposed in front of everyone. But as I meet his gaze, I know deep down that no amount of pleading will undo what I've done. I was desperate, Jameson. I admit, my voice cracking under the weight of it all. I tried so hard for so long to get pregnant with you. Every month it was just more disappointment. I thought that if I could give you a child, you'd finally see how much I love you. I thought it would change everything. I step closer to him, my heart pounding. Jameson, I still love you. I've always loved you. I made a mistake, but I didn't think it would end like this. I thought you'd understand. He looks at me, his eyes now cold and distant, any trace of warmth long gone. Understand, he says, his voice steady but filled with pain. You think I can just overlook this? You cheated on me, Seren. You thought that was the solution. His calm delivery makes it hit even harder, like a storm quietly rolling in. I thought if I was pregnant you'd want to marry me. I say, my voice breaking. I wanted us to be a family. I thought you'd change your mind if I made it happen. But I didn't mean to betray you. The words spill out in desperation, but I can see that it's not getting through. His expression flickers, a brief moment of emotion flashing in his eyes, but then he hardens again, the indifference setting in. I feel like I'm standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to fall into a pit of no return. Please, Jameson, I beg, my voice barely holding together. I'll do anything. Just give me one more chance. I swear I'll make it right. I'll prove I can be the person you wanted me to be. But he shakes his head, his eyes filled with a sad, resolute finality. Seren, I'm not angry anymore. I've let that go, he says, his tone calm, but it only makes his words sting more. But this isn't just about anger. It's about trust. And you broke that. You can't fix that with apologies or promises. His words cut deep, and I can feel my heart shattering with every syllable. The tears are flowing freely now, and I know I'm losing him. I can't stop it. I thought we could work through this, Jameson. I sob, barely able to get the words out. I thought what we had was real. You thought wrong, he replies, firm but clearly in pain himself. You made your choice, and now you have to live with the consequences. His words land like a slap in the face and it hits me. I've messed up so badly there's no fixing it. I can't turn back. I can't undo what I've done. My parents move toward me trying to offer some comfort, but their presence feels heavy, suffocating. I can't face them and I can't face myself. I'm so sorry. I whisper, my voice barely more than a breath. I never meant to hurt you. He shakes his head, his expression resigned. Just go home, Seren. I can't do this anymore. The finality in his words crushes what little hope I had left. The weight of it all presses down on me, and I feel the last bit of us slipping away. My parents watch, their faces full of pity and concern, but even their sympathy feels hollow. There's no comfort here for me. I turn to Jameson one last time, desperately searching his eyes for any hint of the love we once had, but all I see is his resolve. He's made his decision, and there's no changing it now. As I stand there, reality sets in. I've lost him. I've lost everything I ever wanted, and it's all because of my own choices. Tears spill over as I take a shaky breath, feeling like I'm drowning in the weight of my mistakes.